So in this reconnecting, we are reconnecting physically. So I'm reconnecting with nature, with people and community and so on. Is there a place for what one would call spiritual dimension? Is there a place in this reconnecting, seeing unity of life? Is there a way by which we can resort to or take refuge into the deeper spiritual dimension of compassion, of love, of generosity of heart and generosity of spirit? Is there any, and if that is that, where does that fit into the scientific analysis of the history and analysis of the world?
Yeah, and I would say that not only is there a spiritual dimension in those connections, but the very connectivity itself is what informs the spiritual dimension. The spirituality arises, the meaning arises as a function of that connectivity. So the spirituality exists all through the connections that we're talking about. And that's, I think, is one of the, it's something that the book kind of goes into to some degree, is this notion of some sort of scientific understanding of the universe being separate from a spiritual understanding of the universe is, again, a uniquely Western idea that came with those splits we were talking about before. So it's with the rise in science that we get this idea that there's actually two different dimensions. And then, of course, reductionist scientists, which form the mainstream thinking in science nowadays, tell us that, well, the more we know about the universe, the more meaningless it appears. And so for those of us who look for that spiritual place, sometimes it feels like we have to choose. Do we go with science or do we go with spirit? And what happens if we want to sort of remain, want to sort of feel that what we're doing with our lives feels scientifically meaningful too? But what is a really interesting path that I explore in the book is the rise in modern decades of systems theory and system science. And of course, here in Schumacher College, there's so much exploration of exactly that. And systems thinking is every bit as valid and rigorous as reductionist thinking. Has just as many pro rata Nobel scientists, Nobel Prize-winning scientists in that area. And systems science is something very different. Systems science looks at really the science of connections between things, the science of how neurons connect in the brain, or how humans connect together, or how all natural things self-organize. And what is so fascinating is that we can see some of the principles of modern systems thinking being so congruent with the principles of traditional wisdom, and especially many of the principles that arise from East Asian wisdom, from Chinese and Buddhist principles. So then it begins to offer this possibility that we can find a platform of values about connection, where we can link with our understanding of a deep, rigorous understanding of science, and link that with our sense of the connectivity of everything and the wisdom that comes from traditional insights.